Yo, what is up, Crockxen clan members, anime fans, and others who have stumbled upon this video? I'm SoresanCrockxen, and today we're going to be doing Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Rei. Let's go. Alrighty then, so story. Like I said, we're gonna do this format from now on. Hopefully I can make it better throughout continual practice. But anyway, so the story of this is the third season of Higurashi. It's kind of like it's technically a follow-up season, but it's so short that it's considered an OVA series. So essentially, what happens in this little small 5-episode season OVA thing, it's basically following up from the story that ended season 2, which was they finally succeeded in beating the curse, and now they're all living together. Now, this one starts off with Rika dying in the horrible. Okay, so like the first episode is just them having fun at the pool, and it's kind of like a joke gag episode. It was like one of those just nice episodes. And then like Rika dies at the end because when they're leaving the pool, she gets hit by a truck. So the way they set it up is that Rika is now in this alternate universe, right? This is another world, right? That she's supposed to, I guess, fix everything. Now the thing is, this world is perfect. There's no syndrome. There's no disease. Keiichi isn't even in the village. Rena's parents never divorced. Shion and Mion are separated, but they're happy and they're working together to make sure the village is safe. Takano isn't even existent in the village, and Tomitaka doesn't exist. Irie doesn't even show up. There's no clinic. The clinic belongs to somebody else. Satoko and her brother are just fine because her parents. She never killed her parents. Thus, they didn't live with their uncles. Thus, Satoshi didn't kill anybody. And so basically everything is perfect. There's no issues. Rika, the other Rika, technically speaking, had no friends though because her friends then left. So essentially it's kind of like Rika's goal of getting back to it's kind of her getting back to her own world, essentially. That's basically what this whole boils down into. Hanyu's not even with her. She speaks to her via this little orb thing that she finds in the shrine, and that's the only way they communicate. She can't actually physically enter the world. So that's our base story. So let's move on to animation. Now I'm not gonna dwell too much into like the whole aspect of animation because it's the same animation from the first season. Higurashi is not a very like vividly wild animation style, right? It's very plain and simple. The characters look kind of generic most of the time. I mean, you can tell them apart, yes, but it's not like it's like a big fancy thing. I don't know. It doesn't really bother me though. One thing I did forget to add to this in the previous anime time is that animation-wise is going to include music. Now, music is kind of the same aspect because remember, Higurashi is technically a horror anime, so like a lot of the music that goes in the background is kind of supposed to be creepy and eerie half the time. So that's kind of like the whole point of it. But that's essentially like the animation it's okay. Like it doesn't pop your eyes or whatever. It's not like amazing wow, but it's pretty decent in my opinion. Alright, characters. Yeah. This is also one, since it's the third season, I'm not going to dwell too much into the characters because really the characters don't change in terms of the story because I mean, yeah, we have the personalities are now. Keiichi doesn't even show up, right? He's not even relevant in the story because in this alternate universe, he's not even part of the universe. Rika's hated. Satoko hates Rika in this version because well, they never met because both their parents are alive, so thus they never became friends, and you know, it's essentially like literally it's the opposite of what they would be in their own respective in their actual world. Like over there, they've had hardships and everything is just turmoil and horrible stuff. This version is just everybody's like chill. Like everybody's just chill out and like minding their own business because in all honesty, nothing has forced them to go psychotic in any ways. So that's essentially. There's not much to talk about the characters. This anime time might be a little short. I'm actually gonna include because there's not much to talk about in these other parts. I'm actually gonna add the last section which I came up with last time, but because of time crunch, I wasn't able to execute it. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. Alright, so if I did this right, there should have been a timestamp at the little title card. I'm basically going to be talking about the final episode. And I'm actually going to include the last two because the last one is literally like more filler than anything else. So, spoilers, essentially what I'm doing here. This is spoilers right now. So, if you want to skip, hopefully the time code, I was able to work it out over there. But essentially, the final episode of the actual arc is Rika waking up from a coma. Apparently, Hanyu did something with her powers to where Rika didn't actually die. She went into a coma for a month, and that alternate universe was just Hanyu messing with her mind to reassure her that this is the place she wanted to be. Essentially, the way to get back to her original world was to kill her mom, because in that version of the world, Rika is not the reincarnation of Oyashiro. Her mom is. So the only way to fix everything was to kill her, thus sending Rika back to her real world, the world that they fought so hard for. Now Rika was torn about this because that's her mom, and she technically grew to resent her because, well, she died in every world, so there's really no reason to care. But for the most part, she was struggling inside. So, but then when she came to, she thought she killed her mom, and I was actually confused because they didn't show anything. But it was just that she had made up her mind to go to the real world, and thus she woke up from her coma. And everybody was there, and everybody was happy, she's back, and everything's fine. The final episode of this season is kind of filler, and it's technically supposed to be a joke episode, but it's essentially going again back to like the whole god thing inside the anime. There's these two little pendant things. There's a red one and a white one. If you have the red one, whoever has the white one, if you have the white one, whoever has the red one falls in love with you immensely, and you end up going all the way as soon as you meet. That's essentially the whole point of it, the whole thing. And then Rena accidentally swallows the thing because the thing is in the sky. It was sealed in the sky, and then it fell, and she swallowed it because she was. It was weird. Okay, there really was no reason for that to happen. The thing is, the white one, Tomitaka, gets it, so she falls in love with him, and she's trying to push the whole sexual thing, but then Takano ends up having it, and then so she's like pushing this whole lesbian thing with Takano, but then Takano loses it, and then Oishi gets it, and then she does, and it becomes this really awkward thing, and the whole aspect is stupid. It ends up being with Keiichi, like he ends up swallowing the thing afterwards because Oishi messes up with the thing, and then, well, and then they have to do like this whole, because the whole point is that they actually have to get it back so they could do a ritual to get the thing out of Rena and then seal it back up again. It was stupid, but it was kind of funny because it was kind of awkward also at certain points. But essentially, they were able to get it out and all that stuff. Everything was fine afterwards. So that's essentially the final episode. It was nice. I liked the part of the story. That one was really good. So on to rating. Alright, time for a rating. Now, Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Rei, as it is, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did. I love this whole aspect of going through an alternate universe where everything's supposed to be fine, and it's technically supposed to be the perfect world in terms of every character. Keiichi never commits a crime, thus he never has to move to Hinazawa. and Rika and or not Rika, but Satoko and Satoshi are fine. They're with their family, nothing wrong. The whole dam war is not even a real thing because the thing's gonna get built anyway. So Rena's parents are okay, so she lives fine with them, which means she never had to move out and come back in. Everything is just perfect for all the characters. So my rating for this particular season is finish it. Now, that here's my thing though. I think that if you're gonna watch this season, watch the first two first. Now, while I personally would say just finish it all the way through, finish season 1, season 2, and this one, and then eventually season 4, which I'm gonna watch later on. But because not everybody's in the horror genre, and not everyone might be able to handle it, because I personally had to stop watching the first season, before I actually went back to it. I think it was like a 1.5 year skip that I just didn't touch the series, so I was able to feel comfortable going back to it. So here's my thing. Don't watch this one until you've watched the first two seasons. But here's what I want to say. Watch season 1. Watch it. Now, remember how the rating works. It's finish it, watch it all the way through, watch it halfway, look at it, first couple episodes, don't bother, just don't even touch it. So watch the first season. Give it to the halfway mark. If you can't watch it, give it a break, and then maybe if you want to go back to it, or you just don't like it, just don't even bother anymore. But at least watch the first season, halfway mark, and then if you manage to finish season 1, just finish the rest of it. There's no need to stop. So that's just my thing. I personally think you should just finish for every season overall because it is a good series. It is a good story. I thoroughly enjoy it. But yeah, so that is gonna be it for this review, this anime time with Soresan. I hope that I can make these as good as possible. Following in the future, maybe get some new stuff going in. I don't know. I'm not that great at editing, so it's gonna take some time to me to get adjusted. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm SoresanCrockxen, and I'll see you guys in future videos.